Hi, this is Joe with Prep Agent, ready to do another webinar and get another person past the exam. Here with my friend Lydia. How's it going, Lydia?
Wonderful.
Good. So, Lydia, you wanted me to go over a few concepts which I think we'll use to ignite a good conversation about real estate. The three
Oh,
concepts you wanted to go over was listing, appraisal, and types of ownership, correct?
that's correct. Yes.
Okay. So just
Those are the top.
so everybody out there in YouTube land, they can see what we're going to be talking about today. These three things right here: listing, appraisal, and types of ownership. And maybe we'll go over a few other things in the process as well. So what do you think?
I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be.
I'm ready to. Let's just do this, huh? Okay.
Wonderful.
So first, we got listings. We're going to jump right into this. So tell me what you know about a listing. What do you know about? Let's just start with anything you know, and then I'll kind of take it from there.
The listing is the relationship that the seller has with the broker.
Who's hiring who?
The seller or buyer hires the broker, who in return gets an agent
Okay, so
to
I
perform.
like that you said the broker is hired. That's really good. You said the broker is hired. Okay. Who hires the broker?
Um, the seller
Good. Is hired by the seller. Okay, that's a great point. Wanted to write that down. To do what?
to find a ready and willing buyer.
Good. So the broker is hired by the seller to find a ready, willing, and able buyer. Okay. What do they use
Mhm.
to hire them?
An agent.
What contract?
No, I'm sorry. MLS listings.
So what contract is that contract that hires the seller? Excuse me, the seller uses to hire the broker.
A bilateral
Too
contract.
complicated. So what I'm looking for is that's what a listing is. The listing is actually the employment contract.
Oh,
Yeah, so let's write
one.
that down.
Okay.
It's, as you said, it's the way the seller hires the broker to do what?
Um, hires the broker to find a ready and willing buyer or an able buyer.
Good. So you said the listing hires the broker to find a ready and able buyer. Are you going to be a broker or an agent when you pass your exam?
An agent.
So then why are you telling me the listing's hiring a broker?
Because the listing belongs to the broker whom the agent works for.
Excellent. Good. So the listing belongs to the broker for who the agent works for. That's a great point. So the agent's hired to find a buyer, but really it's the broker because the agent works under that broker. Now you said they're hired to do what? Repeat it again. It's a really important point that you made well.
Find a ready, willing, and able buyer.
How do you know they're ready, willing, and able? I mean, that
Um,
sounds very nice. Sounds very like nice legalese, right? Like ready, willing, and able.
expressed interest, would it be pre-approved for a loan or the fact that they signed an agreement to work with you, a type of whatever type of agreement they choose to work with you?
Simpler than that. So how do you know somebody's ready, willing, and able? Like what's that sign that somebody's ready, willing, and able? Let me ask you this. You're married, correct?
Yes.
How did you know that your future husband was serious about marrying you?
It wasn't a ring. I've heard your other podcast. He
That's
hates
he hates the ring?
the proposal thing. It wasn't a ring, but yes, I
Oh,
guess the intention is through a ring with the proposal, right?
oh man, he doesn't like a ring. What a lame-o, right? He's gonna love the ring,
Like,
huh?
came around to it, but he heard me listening to you and he was devastated. He was like, "What's he saying? The ring has to show his intent?" I'm like, kinda. It
Totally.
happened, not like that, but yes.
Yeah,
Um, so,
exactly.
so there would be a proposal?
So that deposit is what shows you're ready, willing, and able. When you actually put down something that says, "Here I am," you say, "Here's the ring," or "Here's the $2,000," or whatever it is, and if I don't follow through with this, I can lose this money. So I'm very serious about my offer.
Got it. Hmm.
And that shows you're ready, willing, and able. Now, there's other things involved, like contingencies. You ever heard that word contingency before?
Yes.
So what's a contingency?
It's if. There are different conditions,
Okay.
different exceptions, if you will, exceptions to whatever's ahead of you. Like if I will do this if.
Okay, good. So do you know an example of a condition in real estate?
I do not.
So one would be I need to get a loan, or it needs to appraise, or it needs to pass inspection, things of that nature.
Got
And
it.
and this is why I love that example of that engagement ring so much, because, for example, I will give you this ring. I love you. I want to marry you, etc., etc. There's a condition that you're not going to make out with anybody else. That I'm your guy, right? And if you make out with somebody else, hey, we could lose the deposit. And this whole deal's off. Correct?
Right.
That's a condition for engagement for 99% of the people in the world. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, same deal. Like you don't want to marry me and then have me go off and hit on some floozy at the bar. You want to be like, hey, you gotta be loyal, good, and I'll say yes and we'll follow through. And when I say I do, escrow has closed. Correct?
Nice. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. Not your husband's favorite example, but it's a good one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we got the listing. The listing is an employment contract where the broker is hired by the seller to find a ready, willing, able buyer.
Mhm.
Is it a bilateral or unilateral contract?
You know, so quickly bilateral wants to roll off my tongue, but then I thought about it and I think it's unilateral all of
Why?
a sudden. Well, because only one person is doing anything for someone. As I recall, bilateral contract was, you do something for me, I do something for you, and then unilateral was like looking for the lost dog.
Right.
You know,
So what are the obligations being signed off on here in a listing? So I said, is it bilateral or unilateral? You said unilateral. Why?
uh, because the broker is the one performing for the seller.
Is the seller
Well,
obligated to pay that broker if he does his job and finds the buyer?
yes, got it. So in fact, it is bilateral.
Bilateral.
I,
Good.
yes.
So there are two obligations because unlike a listing and that lost dog sign, do I have to go look for the dog?
Not at all.
But in a listing, you have to be actively searching for a buyer. That's what I'm hiring you to do. You have to, put forth an effort and do your thing to find a ready, willing, able buyer. So it's a bilateral contract. So the long
Mm,
of it is a listing is a bilateral employment contract.
perfect.
I'm trying to get better with technology here. Okay, so it's a bilateral employment contract. Okay, now there's different types of listings, correct?
Yes.
All right, do you know any of them?
So I would start with net.
Okay,
A net. I would say exclusive agency listing.
that's good.
An agency listing? Wait, no. There's four, correct?
Yes, you're doing good. You got a net listing, exclusive agency listing.
Exclusive agent listing?
No, you got exclusive right to sell.
Right to sell, right. But there's one more with exclusive and agency, isn't there? Open listing, got it.
Okay. So let's start with this. Let's take this one and put it down here. Okay, let's take those out for a second. Okay, so you have two different types of exclusive listings here. What's the difference between these two?
So the exclusive agency listing means that one broker gets paid. An exclusive right to sell means whoever procures the buyer gets.
Well, let's think about this. What does the word exclusive mean to you? So let's go back to my analogy with relationships. Okay, we talked about marriage and I made a joke about meeting a girl with art and all that kind of stuff. So let's stick along this theme of relationships. What does
Okay.
exclusive mean when A man is exclusive with a woman. What does that mean?
Absolute monogamy.
Okay.
Nothing else.
There's one party. There's only one party involved. Okay?
Yeah.
So these two both mean there's only one party involved. Okay?
Huh.
And, I try and use that analogy of relationships because everybody knows it. Everybody gets it. When I said, exclusive relationship, you were like, it's one person with one person. That's it. Absolute monogamy. Real simple. And I believe if I said to you as an open relationship, you would know what that would mean really quickly. Like if I put it in terms of, love and relationships. Like what does an open relationship mean?
Genius that there's no monogamy.
No monogamy. You could date and see other people without violating the trust of your partner because you have an agreed open relationship. Correct?
Yes.
So when you think of exclusive, it's one. So both of these, exclusive agency and exclusive right to sell, involve one party, one broker. Okay? So now let's get to the nitty gritty. The difference between exclusive right to sell and exclusive agency listing is what? What do you think? So they both involve one broker.
So either exclusive agency is only one agency can sell the property or list the property to sell, and the other one means there are multiple agencies?
Nope. So in both of them, there's only one agency, one broker. Okay?
Okay.
Here's the big difference. In this one, the owner sells, you get nothing. Okay? Exclusive right to sell, you get paid no matter what. So it doesn't matter if the owner finds a buyer or your brother Earl finds a buyer. You get paid an exclusive right to sell. Exclusive agency, if you hire me as the broker and you're the seller, if you turn around and you say, Joe, I got this friend who wants to buy it. You never introduced me to him. This is my friend from a long time ago. I've known him for years. He even told me he was interested in buying this property before I met you. So I'm not paying you. And you could do that in an exclusive agency. You'd be like, I knew him forever. And it's totally not right for me to pay you for introducing me to a guy who I've known long before I even knew you. You could say, I'm not paying you under that circumstance in exclusive agency. Whereas exclusive right to sell, I could say, you know what, Lydia, I don't care if it's your friend down the street or, like I said, your brother Earl. If this thing sells, I'm getting my commission. That's exclusive right to sell.
Makes total sense now.
Yeah. So which one would you want to sign as you begin your real estate practice?
I would want the exclusive right to sell.
Right, because I gave a pretty clear-cut example. And if everything was that clear-cut, it would be easy. You'd say, okay, you knew him forever, I get it. But the reality is, it's never that clear-cut. You never want to get into an argument with the owner of how long did you know him? Did you meet him? Did I meet him? You don't want to essentially compete with your client for the buyer. So you don't really sign exclusive agency listings unless it's a really special circumstance. So when people say this real estate exam stuff is not relevant to what you actually do, if you look at a listing contract, it actually says exclusive authorization right to sell listing on the top of your listing contract because that's the one you're going to sign.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's important. You get paid no matter what. Now, here, what's the similarity between these two, exclusive agency and exclusive right to sell?
The seller sells, you get nothing, you get paid no matter what. It's just exclusive. So that they're both exclusive onto that one broker.
Excellent. Good. And that's the thing I think we're clearing up right here really well. So they're both exclusive to one broker. Good. Excellent. Now, if I ask you what an open listing about, taking away our relationship terms and putting in real estate terms, what's an open listing all about using the real estate terminology?
So an open listing would be open to multiple brokers.
Excellent. Good. So that seller could have a relationship with multiple brokers.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of a good example. The last time I saw it is when I see these new developments come up where these developers are selling just these cookie cutter homes. You ever see these before?
Yes.
And they just say, Whoever brings a buyer, we will pay whatever they agree upon, whatever commission they set forth. That's an open listing. They throw it out there to all the brokers in the area, and they say, bring your buyer, bring it first. Okay? So that's
Got
an
it.
open listing. Imagine this, if you will. Okay? When you think of a house for sale, what do you see? You go drive the street, you see open houses.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see in front of the house?
A sign,
What does that sign say?
open house, for sale.
For sale?
If it's
And it usually
yes.
also will say the broker's name. It'll say like Bob the agent or whatever, Bob the agent with XYZ brokerage. Call me for happiness or whatever their slogan is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't use that slogan. It's a terrible slogan, by the way. So, and you see that for sale sign in the front yard, correct?
Yes.
That's an exclusive right to sell listing.
Got it.
Now picture this. Imagine if that exclusive right to sell listing was not one sign for sale sign, but in front of that house, it also had a for sale by owner sign next to Bob's sign, next to that broker's for sale sign.
Hmm.
That would be an exclusive agency listing.
Okay.
And you see the inherent problem with that. Now,
Yes.
if you want the visual, put this in your head here. An open listing would be next to that for sale by Bob sign, brokerage Bob, and that for sale by owner sign. Add to it Jim's sign, Debbie's sign, Kelly's sign,
Wow.
like a whole army of for sale signs by different brokerages in the front lawn.
That's awesome.
That would
makes it
Yeah. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
that makes it crystal clear. That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see.
yeah, that would be an open listing. Okay. So you see why that wouldn't work with everyday residential real estate.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Now you have an open listing and an exclusive listing. Okay. So we're going to make the questions a little tougher. Are you ready?
Uh-oh. I think so.
Which one's unilateral?
Um, that would be an open listing.
Good. Totally proud of you. Why? Or did you just guess?
No, uh, because the seller is almost like the dog giving a reward to whoever sells the house.
Right. So you're not obligated to look, whereas an exclusive listing, there's an end date. You could say 90 days, 6 months, whatever you agree upon. But there's an end date, and you're the one being hired. You got to do your thing. In an open listing, as you said, if you stink, I could go have the other guy do it. It's not that big of a deal. So the open listing would actually be a unilateral contract.
Got it.
Okay. Now, net listing doesn't have to do with open or exclusive listings. It has to do with the way you're getting paid. So you could have an open net listing or an exclusive net listing. So it's kind of in its own little world here. What do you know about a net listing?
The only thing that comes to mind, there's something about the commission and the actual cost of the house. So if a seller wants to sell the house for $130,000, but you manage to sell it for $140,000, you're getting the $10,000.
Excellent.
Is that right?
Yeah, you get the net amount. So let's use easier numbers. The seller wants to sell for $100,000. You bring a buyer for $110,000. How much money did you make?
$10,000.
Seller wants to sell for $100,000. Buyer comes for $100,000. How much money do you make?
Nothing.
Does the seller care if it's the buyer brings $110,000 or $100,000?
No, because he got what he needed at the 100.
So you may have incentive to not show him that buyer who's bringing the offer for $100,000 because you know you won't get paid.
Interesting. Yes.
This is why it's illegal in most states.
Oh.
Because there's
Okay.
an inherent conflict of interest there.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. Oh.
Because I'm the seller, I just want my house sold for $100,000. And you may be sitting here turning away offers that I may accept because you got to eat. You want to make money.
Yes.
And so it's kind of a conflicting interest. And people always ask me, that's illegal. That's illegal. Why is it on the test? And people got to understand there's a lot of things that are illegal on the test. Just because it's not legal doesn't mean you don't have to understand how it works. You still got to know how it works and what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
a net listing is a listing that's illegal in most states because of that conflict of interest we just described.
Makes total sense.
Yeah, you get paid the net amount. Excellent. Good. Okay, so we have our listings, we have the open listing, we have our net listing. And what other questions do you have about a listing?
I'm feeling pretty complete, and I have some really valuable visuals in my head right now
Are you sure?
that make,
So I'm going to ask you another
yeah,
question.
okay. Well, let's see.
Okay, so being you are a listing expert now, which
Yeah.
one of these need to have a defined termination date?
Um, it would be exclusive agency listing.
Good. Or even exclusive right to sell because you're the only one being hired.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now, let's get into some more listing terminology. Okay, so you find a buyer. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the listing, let's call it 90 days. Right, you find a buyer and the listing expires. Oh no. And your
Yes.
buyer writes the offer after the listing expires. What now?
Darn it. The word's on the tip of my tongue. Um, I've run a blank, but I do know there is such a word. Uh,
Okay,
Safety clause. Well, I was looking for something a little more complicated, but I
there
see.
there are some complicated words for this for sure. Okay, so you have your safety clause. Okay, and what that says is if you find Bob before the listing expires, okay, you sign and you write, I found Bob. All right, you sign that away. I got Bob here. And then you have
Mhm.
a time period afterwards, okay, that says if Bob closes this deal 2 weeks after this listing expires, I get paid. Now you can't find new buyers during this time period. Okay? It's just a time to close deals with people you found during the term of the listing.
Mm,
Does that make sense?
yes.
So if the listing expires on Wednesday and you found me on Monday, you're going to write down Joe on Monday. Then if I write the offer on Friday, you get paid. Right?
Yes.
So that way on Friday, you can't go to the seller, and if somebody comes and buys the property, you're like, no, 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 that was mine, totally mine. And the seller would be like, what? That's expired 2 days ago. I don't care, mine. You can't do that.
Mm,
Okay? And you may also hear the term, you want that fancier term, a protection period clause.
okay.
You ever heard it phrased either way like this?
I have.
Okay,
Now that you mentioned protection period clause, yes.
okay, good. Now, what if the seller doesn't move out immediately?
Mm-hmm.
What could you sign?
Um, who's me? The agent?
You'll know the sell. So the seller says, "I'll sell my house to you, but I need to stay there for like another month." This is a tough one. I don't expect you to know this one. Don't feel like you need to know this one. This one's called an interim occupancy agreement.
Okay.
Okay, and a lot of times at the end of the listing they'll put that there so they could stay for a little extra time after the listing expires. They want to stay there during the interim while the property is changing over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what jumbo shrimp is?
An oxymoron?
Yes, it is, but that's totally not where I was going with that. But yes, it absolutely is. I was going to say it was an extremely large shrimp. And I was okay. Let me give you a better one. What's a rum and coke?
Um, I don't drink. I don't know.
But
I'm
you know,
sorry.
rum and coke, right? It's just
Rum-
right. My point is, I'm not trying to put you on the spot about your drinking habits here. I mean, I was basically saying the definition is in the name sometimes.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, I see that.
They're
And-
making an agreement as per the occupancy in the interim while they're changing hands.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't I don't even like rum and cokes, and frankly, that wasn't big since Tom Cruise and Cocktail. Do you remember that early '80s,
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
where
That's right.
where every idiot wanted to be a bartender after that because they thought they get to travel to the Bahamas and meet the pretty girl. Then later you find out that it's not as cool as it looks by Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's a difficult awakening.
Yes, yes. I mean, I totally thought I was cool as Tom Cruise, but once I lost my hair, not so much. Okay, so we got the interim occupancy agreement there. Okay, great. So we're doing pretty well with listings. How about we move on to the next topic? What do you think?
Sounds wonderful. I'm ready.
Appraisal. Ba-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Sorry, I just saw the new Star Wars. I couldn't help it.
Oh, you're lucky I haven't yet.
It's amazing. So, okay, so here we go. So we got appraisal. So before you do a listing and you could, sell this property, you need to find
Hmm.
out how much it's worth, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's an appraisal?
An appraisal is someone giving.
That's an appraiser. What's an appraisal?
Oh, wow. It's a document.
Nope.
It's an official. No, I don't know. An estimate of value. I see.
Yeah, an appraisal is just an estimate of value. Okay?
Hmm.
That's all it is. It's not the actual value. What's the actual worth of the property?
That be the market data?
Too complicated. You're getting too
Okay.
fancy for me.
Okay.
Did you buy anything today?
Yes.
What'd you buy?
I bought food.
Okay, what'd you
Uh,
get? A sandwich? Just give me. You don't have to tell me the truth. You can make it up. Did you buy a sandwich today?
no, I'll tell you because it never happens. We went to Wendy's and I bought fries because I'm a vegan. So I bought French fries.
How much did you pay?
$1.77.
What's the value of the French fries?
$1.77?
$1.77. And that's what I'm getting at. People talk about the
Okay.
value, and let's get clear what they talk about the actual value. It's whatever ready, willing, and able buyer pays for it. The appraisal is the estimate of value. The appraisal is when you walk into Wendy's and you look at those fries and you're like, those are amazing. I need those. $5. And somebody else says, those are gross. 50 cents. Those are appraisals.
Mm.
Okay? And whether that guy thinks $5 or 50 cents, whatever it is, the only thing that matters is that you paid the $1.77 for it.
Huh. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what the appraiser does is he looks at the French fries. He looks at the French fries and they say, how much are the Burger King fries worth? And he says, well, Wendy's paid $1.77, McDonald's was $1.50, and this one was $1.90. I'm going with Burger King $1.65 because it's a little bit of a smaller box. Okay? And he
Hmm.
makes an estimate. But that's not the actual value. The actual value is what somebody at Burger King pays for those fries, correct?
Correct.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes.
What approach did I just use to find out the value of the fries at Burger King?
Is that the market data approach?
Yes. Excellent. So now we're talking about. So what about my approach? Did you just say market data approach because that was what you were thinking, or what about my approach to find the value of those Burger King fries was the market
Yes.
data approach? So I gave you a quick little story. What in that story said, he's using the market data approach?
Basically comparing the other fast food restaurant prices.
Right. Or houses, if you will. Turn our French fries into houses, and you have the market
Yes.
data approach. Because what I said is, how much are those fries? I said, well, McDonald's is charging $1.50 next door, Wendy's charging this charging that. Based upon the other properties in the market, this is the price I believe it is. The
Mm.
market data approach. Okay?
Hmm.
Will you use this as a real estate agent?
I would assume so. When I want to get a listing, I would go out and looking at comps and I guess other relevant items, create
Do you
a
have a
package.
house now?
I do.
Do you know how much it's worth? You don't have to tell me. I'm just asking. Do you know how much it's
Yeah,
worth?
yeah, I do.
How
Yep.
do you know?
Um, well, I'm basing it on what we paid. Doesn't mean
Okay.
that's what it's, does it?
No, and that's a big no-no. Cost is not relevant to value. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's go back to those French fries. Does how much it cost to make those French fries relevant to all of what you paid for them?
Yeah, no.
No, when you bought those French fries, like no, 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 come on, you paid like a cent for it to make these fries, like 2 cents max. I'm not giving you $1.77. You based
Right.
upon that. I want some fries. I'm hungry. These look delicious. I'm paying for this now. What it
Mm-hmm.
cost for them to make it was not relevant to the value.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, before you're a real estate agent or an appraiser or any of these fancy big real estate words, we all do the market data approach. You were probably like me and like everybody else in America owns a house. When it's Sunday and you see the open house signs in your neighborhood, what do? We walk in and be like, you know what? Jill's house is just like mine. It's 500 grand. They'll say 500 grand. That's great. But obviously their carpet's hideous and our decorating's way better. So ours is clearly 600 grand, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody does that. Nobody ever says like, "Oh, their decoration's great. Mine's worse, 400 grand." Everybody always thinks that they nailed it. They're like, "Well, if theirs is 500 grand, ours is clearly 600 grand because their style is just deplorable, right?" Um,
Abs
you don't have to name your friends, but you know you've seen that before, correct?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes, all the time. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what they're doing is the market data approach. They're comparing other properties in the market to come up with the value of their own, and that's what you're going to use as a real estate agent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the flaw of the market data approach?
Oh, interesting. Geez, I don't know.
Think about it. How do we find the value of those French fries or the other or the value of your house?
Well, is it a little anecdotal by comparing it to what others have priced their comparable home
Hmm.
or front try at? So it is a little anecdotal. Then the appraisal might come in because is the appraisal closer to like true hard numbers?
Well, okay, define for me straight up what the market data approach is.
It's comparing, it's taking comparable homes and determining your value based on other like houses, if you will.
So can I ask you a question?
State.
What if there
Yes.
are no homes in your neighborhood? What if you're the only one?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
wow. Yes, I was right. Don't know what to say.
This approach doesn't work. And there's the flaw of the market data approach. And
Wow.
you said you love me because I make it simple, and I think, boom, right there. There it is.
Yep.
What's the flaw
Yep.
of it? You need other homes. It's that simple. And
Okay.
one thing I always try and reiterate, and we talked about this when we were on the phone earlier, is just keep this very simple and concise. Let's not make it more complicated than it needs to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the problem with the market data approach is, well, you need data. You need comparisons. And if it's not there, then you're kind of screwed. But that's a little
Yes.
weird. How many houses do you know are just hanging out on their own by themselves?
Not too many.
Not very many. So, generally speaking, the market data approach works very well for houses.
Mhm.
What kind of buildings is there one of a kind in a neighborhood?
I'm sorry, what kind of buildings are one of a kind?
Yeah, where there's no comparables. In a common community. I'm not talking about some really strange
For
example.
a library,
Perfect. Good.
office.
So, what kind of approach would you use for a library or a
Oh,
school or a police station or things of that nature?
oh no, I'm so frustrated. I This was on the tip of my tongue. Um, I'm blank.
So,
Um,
basically, do you want to say something? I'm sorry.
it's probably gonna be frustrating when I hear it because it's there, but I can't get it out.
How much would it cost to
Mhm.
replace it brand
Right.
new?
But there's one word, correct?
Cost replacement approach? Cost approach?
That's it, I guess so. Yeah.
Cost replacement approach. Okay. So basically, you're looking at something. How much should it cost to replace it brand new? Because in a library, there are no comparables. Because the next library over is typically in a whole nother community that has a whole nother market. Correct?
Mhm. Yes.
So what's the problem with the cost replacement approach?
Well, maybe something was built 100 years ago.
Perfect. Excellent. Couldn't answer that any better. The problem with the cost replacement approach is things are not brand new, especially these libraries and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So the cost replacement approach, if you word it out fully, cost replacement approach is how much you replace something brand new. Okay? So on your exam, if you see a building that was 100 years old, then the cost replacement approach is not the best approach for this because you're replacing it brand new. So you see that new library, I can't replace it with items that they used in 1900 or whatever 100 years ago, correct? I mean, it's a totally different circumstance, different material, different everything.
Yes.
So, but if it was built 1 year ago, I could pretty much copy that and do that over pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So cost replacement approach works better when buildings are new as opposed to old.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So we got the market data approach, cost replacement approach. Do you want to invest in real estate?
Not now.
Well, let's just say you do. Just work with me here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, I do.
Good. Yes, I'm glad you do. Excellent. How much are you going to pay for a rental building?
Is this the gross multiplier?
Yes, it is.
Yay!
So what's this all about?
You're going a little too fast for me. You just got the word out.
Okay.
No, it's the process that you use to create value when you don't care what the house looks like or
Good.
if it has a great kitchen.
Good. So I phrase it like this. When you buy a house to live in, you care what it looks like and all these things. You care about the comparables, and that's fine. But it's an investment. Do you care about how much it'll cost to buy that property?
Yes.
A little bit. But there's another big factor here involved. What's the other factor?
What you stand to make
in rent. Exactly. So if a property is $1 million property but it brings in $1,000 a month in rent, you're not going to be thrilled with that.
Right.
Okay? And that's where we're talking about the gross rent multiplier. The gross rent multiplier represents that number that is the relationship of the price of the property and the rent that it brings in, either a monthly or annual basis, whichever way you look at it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
So it's a formula that calculates the relationship between the value of the property and the rent. And that formula is literally price divided by rent.
Yes.
Okay? And this could actually get a good math problem done for you as well. And what I recommend you do is I look up gross rent multiplier for one of my videos. I do a great short video on gross rent multipliers where I talk about monthly and annual figures. And it's really easy.
Okay.
Okay? But essentially, it's just the relationship between the value of the property and the rent. It's price divided by rent, which gives you a number called a gross rent multiplier. And you would base your decision on that. You'd say, you know what? This property is a gross rent multiplier of 8, that one is 9, that one's 7. And you would look at those numbers and decide which one you want.
Yes.
Okay? Sound good?
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Good. All right. How you feeling?
I feel good.
Not overwhelmed? We're okay?
I'm hanging in there.
All right.
Yes, not overwhelmed at all, actually.
Okay. So I'm giving you the real simple definition so we learn it. The capitalization approach. You ever heard of this?
Yes.
What do you know about this?
I
don't know how to spell.
Oh, well, that would make two of us.
John. Well, I just lost a lot of sales on my website. People are like, the guy can't even spell it.
Oh no, the best of us can't do that.
Right, there you
I
go.
just spelled
So
for.
people still buy my
Um,
website. I can spell it. Don't worry. Okay, so what's this all about?
well, it's about what you can turn into income.
Excellent. So let's rephrase this. Capitalization income approach.
Hmm.
Nice. So much like the gross or multiplier, it has similar effect, but this is used more for like things like shopping centers and stores. There's a lot more to it than just price divided by rent. And what I
Hmm.
want you to remember from this one, excuse me, converts income into value.
Good. Yes.
Sound good?
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, we'll even bold it there for you. Converts income into value. Okay, so we brushed over a lot of listings and a lot of appraisal there. So now we found the value of our property, correct?
Yep.
We listed it, but now you own it. Types of ownership.
Okay.
All right, but before I do that, there was something that's just annoying my mind that we discussed.
Oh.
We brought up value. So I can't move on without asking you, what are the four essential elements of value?
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh yes!
Is is this Maria?
No! And now I'm going to have to ask you about that too, obviously.
Oh no. I'm quiet.
No, don't be quiet. Don't be quiet. You signed up to help everybody who's listening to this, so you can't be quiet. Be vocal, loud, and proud. We're all studying together.
That's right. Well, I need some help.
Okay. I use an analogy called stud. Some people use dust.
Mm-hmm.
You could use stud, dust, tizida for all I care, as long as you remember the four essentials. You know,
I like stud.
okay, so of course I like stud. Who likes dust? I mean, what, right? What do you think?
Scarcity.
Okay, so how much of there is it? You need to sell it, right?
Yes.
So what's a T word for that? Big word.
Not tight. Geez, I'm feeling pretty silly.
No, you're not. You're doing okay.
Transferability. I see. Uh-huh.
Can you use it? So
Uh-huh.
what's a U word for how usable it is?
Mm-hmm.
Utility. And last but not least, do people even want it? So value is
Mm-hmm.
defined by these four words. Scarcity, how much of there is it? Transferability, can I sell it? Utility, can I use it? And demand, do people even want it?
Yes.
And you can use stud, dust, whatever it is, as long as you remember these four essential elements of value. Can you read them out loud?
Scarcity, transferability, utility, and demand.
Excellent, good. Now, is cost one of the elements of value?
No.
Why? I mean, it seems important what you pay for something, right?
Well, those things help to define what the cost might be or what the true value is.
Well, remember that French fry example? When you go to Wendy's and they say $1.77, you don't go, hey, what would it cost you to make this?
Oh, got it. Mm-hmm.
Right. Just like with your house, if you went to sell and somebody said, well, what'd you pay for it? What would you say?
None of your business.
Exactly. You'd be like, none of your business. And they said, yeah, you say, beat it. So you would say, what it costs me to acquire this has no relevance to what you're going to pay for it. How useful is this to you? Utility. How many others are there like this of my house? Scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Can we transfer it to you? Transferability. And demand, how much do you want it? Okay, and how much do other people want it in the neighborhood? That's what's really the value, not what I paid for it.
Yes.
Okay, and you said this lady Maria. Who's Maria? What's that all about?
Trouble. Maria's a bit of a mystery at the moment.
Maria is not a mystery. She's a famous, lovely actress and one of our favorite 80s songs ever, right?
Yes, is that the Blondie song, right?
Yes, Maria, I haven't seen her. Dun, 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 candlelight. Yeah, love that. Okay, anyways, I will stop my singing for everybody, save them the glory of that. And we'll get into Maria. What's Maria all about? What's it a test for? So it's an acronym to remember a test for a certain thing.
I need a hint.
Okay. Um, do you have a chandelier in your house?
I do. So this would be fixtures,
Yes.
chattel.
No, just stop there. Stop there. You're doing great. Fixture. So when I said chandelier, you immediately got it. You're like, oh, we're talking about fixtures? Why is that chandelier a fixture?
Because it's in the wall, a part of the property.
Okay, so what is Maria all about then?
Maria is,
A test to see if something's a fixture or not.
got it.
So what you just described, that chandelier, is the method of attachment. Then you have adaptability,
Mm-hmm.
relationship, intention, and agreement. Okay? You have
Wonderful.
Maria. Method, adaptability, relationship, intention, and agreement.
Okay.
Your chandelier, is it personal property or real property?
Um, I would say it was,
What's it right now? Like as you look at it right now above your head, what is it?
it's real property
Why? I
because it's attached to the wall,
was about to
or
say it's real property. It's not falling on your head right now.
yes.
If it's real property, it's stuck to the wall. It's not going anywhere. Said if it wasn't real
Yeah.
property, you'd have issues. So it's real because it's attached to the wall.
Yes.
Why is it a fixture? Isn't lots of things attached to walls? Or excuse me, why is it a fixture? What makes it a fixture?
Because it's a part of the house.
And it was once not part of the house. It was once
Ah,
personal property. So a fixture is personal property that becomes real property,
okay.
like your chandelier. Does that make
Yep.
sense? That chandelier
Totally.
was not built with your house. Somebody had to bring it in, and maybe it was put in before you were there, but somebody had to bring it in and nail it to the roof or screw it to the roof, however they get it to the roof.
So that would be draperies
Excellent.
and television, a home theater, that kind of thing.
Yep, you nailed it. These are fixtures. And when you
Hmm.
practice real estate and you go to sell a property, you'll see a section that says fixtures. And they're talking about things that you just named. Okay?
Hmm.
All right, moving right along. So you got those fixtures there, you got your real, your personal property, all that good stuff. Let's get back to this types of ownership for 1 second. Okay?
Okay.
There's two ways you could own property. What are they? And don't overcomplicate this. People always do.
Would it be in severalty and concurrent?
Yes, I love you so much. Perfect. Nailed it. Okay, good.
Yay.
You said it a very fancy way, with somebody else or by yourself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes it much easier.
People always overthink it. They're like two ways. Well, there's this concurrent legality of this and joint and concurrent, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, hey, man, it's really simple. Either with somebody else or by yourself. That's it. But in all,
About that.
there's a fancy way to do it. Severalty is which one?
By just yourself.
Good. Severalty is by yourself. Concurrent estate is with somebody else. Okay?
Yes.
I wish it ended there, but it doesn't. Because severalty, there's not a whole lot of options of owning something by yourself. Concurrent estate, on the other hand, there's different ways you can own with somebody else. But there's
Yes.
really two main ones that I like to talk about.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what they are?
Would that be joint and tenants in common
Okay. What do you know about them?
and tenancy in common, rather?
Okay, what do you know about them?
Joint tenancy is the to tip with right of survivorship. They
Excellent.
both have common possession.
Let's hold on. Let's write that
Um,
first because you're doing great.
so time, title, um,
Time.
title, interest, and possession.
Nice work.
Yeah.
Good. Time, title, interest, and possession. But you said there was something else involved too.
Right of survivorship.
Nice. Okay, good. So you said right of survivorship. Excellent. Good. So you got your joint tenancy, time, title, interest, and possession with the right of survivorship. Okay.
Hmm?
So can you will a joint tenancy?
Yes.
But you just said it has the right of survivorship. So if I own
Oh,
a joint tenancy with you, okay, you and I own something together as joint tenants. What does right of survivorship mean?
so if I die, you absorb it.
Right. So therefore,
Need to have a will.
you can't will it because
Right.
it's not. Because if you die, it's mine. You can't will it
Yeah.
to your son because we're joint tenants.
Gotcha.
You got it?
Yep.
So, but you could if it was a tenancy in common, right? Now, with that joint tenancy, okay, we also mentioned this word, tenancy in common. Let's write this down. Da-da-da-dum. Star Wars again, I know. Okay, it's got your tenancy in common, okay?
Hmm.
So if we have the property as joint tenants and one person leaves and a new person comes in, they are a tenant in common because they violated the method of time, okay? They came in at a different time.
Hmm.
What's the one unity that also applies to a tenancy in common that is in a joint tenancy?
Possession.
Nice. Good. Good. So you have possession in a tenancy in common.
Mm. Hmm.
All right. Ta-da! So you got possession there for the tenancy in common. Excellent. All right. So you got so we did some listings, we did some appraisal, and we did some types of ownership there. So that's some good stuff. So is there anything else you'd like to go over? Because we did a good amount there for almost 15 minutes. Time flies, huh?
Yeah, no, this is really good. And some of the things we've gone over, I'm just going to, because you've given me such great visuals. I
Thank
just,
you.
I just want to go over them and get them in my head and into my bones because now I can see it. I can actually see it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. So are we good for right now? What do you think?
I think we're awesome. This is giving me a wonderful body of work to work on. Like amazing.
Good.
And I understand, which is better yet.
Excellent. I'm happy. So good. So this is Joe with Prep Agent with my friend Lydia, who's going to be an amazing real estate agent before you know it. And if anybody wants to make comments below, yeah, say yay. Say yay, please. Say yay.
Yay!
Yay. Yay. She's going to pass and we're going to get it done. And if anybody else wants to ask me questions, let me know. By all means, add comments below if you have questions about what I talked about with Lydia. And even if I got something wrong, don't be afraid to call me out on it because we all make mistakes and we all want to learn together. This is Joe with prepagent.com. Until next time, study hard, but keep it concise, keep it simple.